The Complete Works of Swami Vivekananda, Volume 3, Section 4, My Plan of Campaign, delivered at Victoria Hall, Madras. As the other day we could not proceed owing to the crowd, I shall take this opportunity of thanking the people of Madras for the uniform kindness that I have received at their hands. I do not know how better to express my gratitude for the beautiful words that have been expressed in the addresses than by praying to Lord to make me worthy of kind and generous expressions, and by working all my life for the cause of our religion and to serve our motherland. And may the Lord make me worthy of them. With all my faults, I think, with all my faults, I think I have a little bit of boldness. I had a message from India to the West, and boldly I gave it to America and the English peoples. I want, before going into the subject of the day, to speak a few bold words to you all. There have been certain circumstances growing around me, tending to thwart me, oppose my progress, and crush me out of existence if they could. Thank God they have failed, as such attempt will always fail. But there has been for the last 3 years a certain amount of misunderstanding, and so long as I was in foreign land, I held my peace and did not even speak one word. But now, standing upon the soil of my motherland, I want to give a few more words of explanation. Not that I care what the result will be of these words, not that I care what feelings I shall evoke from you by these words. I care very little, for I am the same sannyasi that entered your city about 4 years ago with the staff, with this staff and Kamandalu. The same broad world is before me. Without further preface, let me begin. First of all, I have to say a few words about the Theosophical Society. It goes without saying that a certain amount of good people or good work has been done to India by the society. As such, every Hindu is grateful to it, and especially to Mrs. Basant. For though I know very little of her, yet what little I know has impressed me with the idea that she is a sincere well wisher of this motherland of ours, that she is doing the best in her power to raise our country. For that, the eternal gratitude of every true born Indian is here, and all blessings be on her and her forever. But that is one thing, and joining the society of Theosophists is another. Regard and estimation and love are one thing, and swallowing everything anyone has to say without reasoning, without criticizing, without analyzing is quite another. There is a report going round that Theosophist the Theosophists help the little achievements of the mind in America and England. I have to tell you painfully that every word of it is wrong. Every word of it is untrue. We hear so much tall talk in this world of liberal ideas and sympathy with difference of opinion. That is very good, but as a fact, we find that one sympathies with another only so long as the other believes in everything has to say, but as soon as he dares to differ, that sympathy is gone, that love vanishes. There are others again who have their own axis to grind, and if anything rises in the country which prevents the grinding of them, their hearts burn. Any amount of hatred comes out, and they do not know what to do. What harm does it do to the Christian missionary that the Hindus are trying to cleanse their own houses? What injury will do to the Brahmo Samaj and other reform bodies that the Hindus are trying their best to reform themselves? Why should they stand in opposition? Why should they be the greatest enemy of this movement? Why? I ask. It seems to me that their hatred and jealousy are so bitter that no or how no why or how can be asked there. 4 years ago, when I was a poor, unknown, friendless sannyasin, was going to America, going beyond the waters of America without any introduction or friends there, I called on the leader of the Theosophical Society. Naturally, I thought he, being an American and a lover of India, perhaps would give me a letter of introduction to somebody there. He asked me, "Will you join my society?" I said, "No." I replied, "How can I? For I do not believe in the most of your doctrine." "Then I am sorry, I cannot do anything for you," he answered. That was not paving the way for me. I reached America, as you know, through the help of few friends of Madras. Most of them are present here. Only one is absent, Mr. Justice Subramaniam Iyer, to whom my deepest gratitude is due. He has the insight of a genius and is one of the staunchest friends I have in this life. A true friend indeed, a true child of India. I arrived in America several months before the Parliament of Religion began. The money I had with me was little and it was soon spent. Winter approached and I had only thin summer clothes. I did not know what to do in that cold, dreary climate. For it if I went to beg in the street, the result would have been that I would have been sent to jail. There I was with the last few dollars in my pocket. I sent a wire to my friend in Madras. This came to be known to the Theosophist, and one of them whom now the devil is going to die, God bless us, was that paving the way for me. I would not have mentioned this now, but as my countrymen wanted to know, it must come out. For 3 years, I have not opened my lips about these things. Silence has been my motto, but today the thing has come out. It was not all. I saw some theosophists in the Parliament of Religion, and I wanted to talk and mix with them. I remember the look of scorn which were on their faces, as much as to say, "What business has the worm to be here in the midst of the gods?" After I had got name and fame at the Parliament of Religion, then came tremendous work for me. But at Everton, the Theosophists tried to cry me down. Theosophists were advised not to come and hear my lecture, for thereby they would lose all sympathy of the society, because the law of the history, histor, iso- esoteric esoteric section declare that any man who joined that esoteric section should receive instruction from Kuthumi and Moria, of course, through their visible representatives, Mr. George and Mrs. Basant, so that to join the esoteric sections sections means to surrender one's independence. Certainly I could not do any such thing, nor could I call any man of Hindu a Hindu who did any such thing. I had a great respect for Mr. George. He was the worthy man, open, fair, simple, and he was the best representative the Theosophist ever had. I have no right to criticize the dispute between him and Mrs. Besant, when each claims that his or her Mahatma is right. And the strange part of it is that the same Mahatma is claimed by both. Lord knows the truth. He is the judge, and no one has the right to pass judgment when the balance is equal. Thus, they prepared the way for me all over America. They joined the other oppositions, the Christians and missionaries. There is not one black lie imaginable that this later did not invent against me. They blackened my character from city to city, poor and friendliness, though I was in the foreign country. They tried to oust me from every house and to make every man who became my friend my enemy. They try to starve me out, and I am sorry to say that one of my own countrymen took part against me in this. He is the leader of the Reform Party in India. This gentleman is declaring every day, Christian has come to India. Christ has come to India. Is this the way Christ is to come to India? Is this way to reform India? And this gentleman I knew from my childhood, he was one of my best friends. When I saw him, I had not met for a long time one of my countrymen. I was so glad, and this was the treatment I received from him. The day the parliament cheered me, the day I became popular in Chicago, from that day his tone changed, and in an underhand way, he tried to do everything he could to injure me. Is that the way that Christ will come to India? Is that the lesson that he had learnt after sitting 20 years at the feet of Christ? Our great reformers declare that Christianity and Christians' power are going to uplift the Indian people. Is that the way to do it? Surely. If that gentleman is an illustration, it does not look very hopeful. One word more. I read in the organ of the social reformer that I am called a Shudra and am challenged as to what right a Shudra has to become a sannyasi. To which I reply, I trace my descent to one of whose feet every Brahmin lays flowers when he utters the word Yamaya Dharmarajaya Chitraguptaya Ve Namaha, and whose descendants are the purest of Kshatriyas. If you believe in your mythology or your Puranic scriptures, let this so called reformer know that my caste, apart from other services of the past, ruled half of the India for centuries. If my caste is left out of consideration, that will there be left of the present day civilization of India? In Bengal alone, my blood has furnished them with their greatest philosophers, the greatest poet, the greatest historians, the greatest archaeologists, the greatest religious preachers. My blood has furnished India with the greatest of her modern scientists. These detractors ought to have known a little of our own history and to have studied our three castes and learned that the Brahmin, Kshatriya, and Vaishyas have equal right to be sannyasin. The Trivarnikas have equal right to be the Vedas. This is only by the way. I just refer to this, but I am not all at all hurt if they call me a Shudra. It will be a little reparation for the tyranny of my ancestors over the poor. If I am a pariah, I will be all the more glad, for I am the disciple of a man who, the Brahmin of Brahmins, wanted to cleanse the house of pariah. Of course, the pariah would not allow him. How could he let this Brahmin sannyasin come and cleanse his house? And this man woke up in the dead of the night, entered surrep- surreptitiously the house of this pariah, cleansed his latrine, and with his long hair whipped the place, and that he did day after day, in order that he might make himself the servant of all. I bear the feet of that man on my head. He is my hero. That hero's life I will try to imitate. By being the servant of all, a Hindu seeks to uplift himself. That is how the Hindu should uplift the masses and not by looking for any foreign influence. 20 years of Occidental civilization brings to my mind the illustration of the man who wants to starve his own friends in the foreign land simply because this friend is popular, simply because he thinks that this man stands in the way of his making money, and the other is the illustration of what genius Orthodox Hinduism itself will do at home. Let any one of our reformers bring out that life, ready to serve even the pariah, and then I will sit at his feet and learn, and not before that. 1 ounce of practice is worth 20,000 tons of big talk. Now I come to the reform societies in Madras. They have been very kind to me. They have been they have given me very kind words, and they have pointed out, and I heartily agree with them, that there is a difference between the reformer of Bengal and those of Madras. Many of you will remember what I have very often told you, that Madras is in a very beautiful state just as now. It has not got into the play of action and reaction as Bengal has done. Here there is steady and slow progress all through. Here is growth and not reaction. In many cases, and to a certain extent, there is a revival in Bengal. But in Madras, it is not a revival, it is growth, a natural growth. As such, I entirely agree with what the reformers point out as the difference between the two people, but there is one difference which they do not understand. Some of these societies, I am afraid, try to intimate me to join them. That is a strange thing for them to attempt. A man who has met starvation face to face for 14 years of his life, who has not known where he will get a meal the next day and where to sleep, cannot be intimidated to so easily. A man almost without clothes, who dares to live where the thermometer registered 30 degree below zero, without knowing where the next meal was to come from, cannot be so easily intimidated in India. This is the first thing I will tell them. I have a little will of my own. I have my little experience too, and I have a message for the world which I will deliver without fear and without care for the future. To the reformers, I will point out that I am a great reformer than any one of them. They want to reform only little bit. I want root and branch reform. Where we differ is in the method. There is the method of destruction. Mine is that of construction. I do not believe in reform. I believe in growth. I do not dare to put myself in the position of God and dictate to our society this way thou shouldst move and not that. I simply want to be like a squirrel in the building of Rama's bridge, who was quite content to put on the bridge his little coat of sundust. That is my position. This wonderful national machine has worked through ages, and this wonderful river, dare to say, and this wonderful river of national life is flowing before us. Who knows and who dares to say whether it is good and how it shall move? Thousands of circumstances are crowding round it, giving it a special impulse and making it dull at one time and quicker at another. Who dares command its motion? Ours is only to work, as the Gita says, without looking for result. Feed the national life with the fuel it wants, but the growth is its own. None can dictate its growth to it. Evils are plentiful in our society, but so are that there are evils in every other society. Here the earth is soaked sometimes with widows' tears. There in the west, the air is rent with the sign of the unmarried. Here, poverty is the great bane of life. There, the life weariness of luxury is the great bane that is upon the race. Here, men want to commit suicide because they have nothing to eat. There, they commit suicide because they have so much to eat. Evil is everywhere. It is like chronic rheumatism. Drive it from the foot, it goes to the head. Drive it from there, it goes somewhere else. It is a question of chasing it from place to place. That is all. Children's to try to remedy evil is not the truth away. Our philosophy teaches that evil and good are eternally conjoined. The observes the obverse and the reverse of the same coin. If you have one, you must have the other. A wave in the ocean must be at the cost of the hollow elsewhere. All the life is evil. No, no, all the life is evil. No breath can be breathed without killing someone else. Not a morsel of food can be eaten without depriving someone of it. This is the law, this is the philosophy. Therefore, the only thing we can do is to understand that all this work against evil is more subjective than objective. The work against evil is more educational than actual. However big we may talk, this first of all is the idea of the work against evil, and it ought to make us calmer. It ought to make fanaticism out of our blood. The history of the world teaches us that wherever there have been fanatic reforms, the only result has been that they have defeated their own ends. No great upheaval for the establishment of right and liberty can be imagined than the war for the abolition of slavery in America. You all know about it and what has been its result. The slaves are the 100 times worse off today than they were before the abolition. Before the abolition, these poor Negroes were the property of somebody, and as properties, they had to be looked after so that they might not deteriorate. Today, they are the property of nobody. Their lives are of no values. They are burnt alive on mere pretenses. They are shot down into any law for their murders. For they are niggers, they are not human beings, they are not even animals, and that is the effect of such violence taking away of evil by law or by fanaticism. Such is the testimony of history against every fanatical movement, even for doing good. I have seen that. I have seen that. My own experience has taught me that. Therefore, I cannot join any one of this condemning society. Why condemn? There are evils in every society. Everybody knows it. Every child of today knows it. He can stand upon the platform and give us a harangue on the awful evils in the Hindu society. Every uneducated foreigner who comes here globe trolling takes a vanished railway view of India and lectures most learned on the awful evils in India. We admit we admit that there are evils. Everybody can show what evil is, but he is the friend of mankind who finds a way out of the difficulty. Like the drowning boy and the philosophers, when the philosopher was lecturing him, the boy cried, "Take me out of the water first." So our people cry. It we have had lectures enough, societies enough, papers enough. Where is the man who will lend us a hand to drag us out? Where is the man who really loves us? Where is the man who has sympathy for us? Yeah, that man is wanted. That is where I differ entirely from this reform movement. For 100 years they have been here. What good has been done except the creation of the most vituperation, a most condemnatory literature, a most condemnatory literature. Would be God, would be God it was not here. They have criticized, condemned, abused the Orthodox until the Orthodox have caught their tone and paid them back in their own coin, and the result is the creation of literature in every vernacular, which is the shame of race, the shame of the country. Is this reform? Is this leading the nation of glory? Or is this leading nation to glory? Whose fault is this? There is then another great consideration. Here in India, we have always been governed by kings. Kings have made all our laws. Now the kings are gone and there is no one left to make a move. The government dare not. It has a fashion, its ways according to the growth of public opinion. It takes time, quite a long time. It make a healthy, strong public opinion, which will solve its own problems, and in the interim we shall wait and have to wait. The whole problem of social reform, therefore, resolves itself into this: where are those who want reform? Make them first. Where are the people? The tyranny of the minority is the worst tyranny that the world ever sees. A few men who think that certain things are evil will not make a nation move. Why does not the nation move?